This week, meetings between generals and a battle in Missouri. Wow, that hasn't happened in a while. First thing this week, on the 25th, Major General Henry Halleck has arrived on the peninsula to meet with Major General George B. McClellan. McClellan wants to cross the James River and advance on Petersburg, Virginia. There are 3 railroads from Petersburg to Richmond. If McClellan can cut them, the Army of Northern Virginia will have a hard time supplying itself. McClellan wants an additional 100,000 troops to do this, which is equal to what he currently has. Halleck gets him to go down all the way to 20,000 men as a request. Halleck leaves for D.C., believing he has accomplished a compromise that Lincoln couldn't. When Halleck arrives in D.C., Lincoln has a letter. McClellan wants 50,000 men. He backtracked on the agreement he had with Halleck. McClellan then sends another letter, increasing his demand back to 100,000. Lincoln tells Halleck to get McClellan back to Northern Virginia. On the 26th, full General Robert.E.Lee sends Major General Thomas J. Jackson this letter. I will send you A. Beale's division. I want Pope suppressed. Cash your troops as much as possible till you can strike a blow. Be prepared to return to me when done, if necessary. I will endeavor to keep General McClellan quit till it is over, if rapidly executed. On the 28th, Lee sends this to Secretary of War George Randolph. I have ordered our big guns to be moved to endeavor to cut off McClellan's communications with the river. I know of no heavier blow that could be dealt McClellan's army than to cut off his communication. It would oblige him to retire at least to the broad part of the river. The attempt, if only partially successful, will anchor him in his present position from which he could not dare to advance, so that I can reinforce Jackson without hazard to Richmond, and thus enable him to drive if not destroy the miscreant Pope. Confederate guerrillas have been recruiting in northern Missouri since Pea Ridge. They have found little success, but great anger. Missouri's Union Governor Hamilton Gamble conscripted men into the Missouri State Militia. On the 27th, 265 Confederate guerrillas under Colonel Joseph C. Porter were stationed in Columbia, Missouri. This is very surprising if you know Columbia. It's one of the most anti-slavery cities in the state. Colonel Odin Guitar is in Jefferson City. He is a man who grew up in Columbia when he receives word of Porter's location. He, along with men of the 9th Missouri State Militia Cavalry and 3rd Indiana Battery, leave for Columbia. On the 28th, when he arrives, he is reinforced by many different units, bringing his number to 733 men. He knows where Porter is, and sends off 464 men with Colonel Schaefer, who reinforced Guitar with 500 men to flank Porter, while he moves down the creek. Porter then reveals himself with a volley, surprising Guitar. Porter then unleashes another volley. Guitar dismounts his men and retreats to a forest. Then artillery is brought forward and begins to decimate Porter. Porter has no artillery of his own and has to hide. 1 hour later, Porter has had enough and yells, "Boys, we can stand this. We shall have to charge them. Forward, charge!" The 2 cannons do strong work against the Confederates, but one is soon overrun. The Federals are in disarray, and then Schaefer arrives. He sends in a company that push past the Confederates and retake the guns. The rest of his men dismount and fire into Porter. Porter returns fire, though he is running low on ammunition. He leaves what cover he has and withdraws, and his men are struck down heavily doing so. Though the Union is exhausted and can't pursue. Not that they need to, because this is a Union victory. Guitar suffered 13 killed and 55 wounded, and the Confederate casualties are unknown. I assume around 15 dead and 45 wounded. But that's just me averaging what accounts I believe. Porter himself does escape. On the 29th, the Nashville-Stevenson line is opened by Major General Don Carlos Buell, and he receives supplies. Not that he can move much faster, raiding in Kentucky has taken its toll. He is about to cross the Tennessee River when he receives reports. Confederate full General Braxton Bragg has 30,000 men waiting for him. This is in addition to Confederate Major General Edmund Curry Smith, who has 16,000, while Buell just has 40,000 men. If the Confederates unite, they would outnumber him. Then there is Sickles. He has left the peninsula for New York, along with Major General Thomas F. Meagher. They both suffered casualties and wish to use their fame to recruit further. When as Sickles arrives, his father sends word to him. The casualty list has arrived. Recruiting would be nearly impossible with that on everyone's mind. That's where the week ends, and it ends with the Confederates moving around. Lee won a victory in the Peninsula Campaign. He has the initiative to move. In the West, the Confederates have to break through, or else the Union will tighten the noose around them. But they are moving now. I record from a Union city. And I record from a Union city. And most of my contacts are Union. I mean, all Union, Mr. Lincoln. But I do know one thing. Soon the Confederates will make a move, and a serious battle will be had. Hello, it's the entire Civil War Week by Week team here. And I'm pleased to announce I have created a Patreon. I'd like to thank Kevin Mack, who has already joined it. It means the world to me. I'm not saying that you should join. This entire production will go on without. It's just if you have the money, and only if you have the money, and you would like to give it to me, I would gladly accept it and forever be in your debt. Now for the normal things. If you liked the video, please like it. If you want to tell me how much you liked it, please comment. If you want to check out what has happened last week, you should be seeing that around now. If you really want to understand the war, you should be seeing a playlist about it right now. Thank you all, and I shall see you next week.